when you're fighting against status
Right.
quo, it's tough. But we are up for the challenge, and I believe that's where we should be. And we have great companies that are really excited working with us. Those are early adopters. And I believe those will be the ones that eventually bring more people and help the market adjust to the new paradigm.
Welcome to 20-Minute Leaders. Just sit back, relax, and learn from the leaders of today. It's a journey. Each one is different, unique, inspiring. Let's get started. 20-Minute Leaders is a proud supporter of Make-A-Wish Israel and Tech to Peace, and is in proud collaboration with Secret Chord Ventures, J Ventures, Riverside FM, Fusion VC, Birthright Excel, J Impact, Leap, Google for Startups, and Hippo, and in media partnership with CTech. Hello and welcome to 20-Minute Leaders. Today I'm with Maya Huber, an entrepreneur, occupational therapist, and an expert in career development. She's an HR thought leader with main expertise in the fields of job analysis and the future of work, and has gained more than 15 years of practical and theoretical research experience managing HR companies, focusing on the work inclusion of marginalized population groups. She's a consultant to private and governmental organizations for recruiting processes and is passionate about empowering businesses to create successful recruiting processes. Maya Huber, welcome to 20-Minute Leaders. Thank you so much for joining me. How are you?
Thank you for having me. It's exciting.
I'm excited to dive into your world. We're going to look at talent and human resources and people, and quite an interesting journey. Today, you're the co-founder and CEO of TaTiO, formerly Skillset. I'm excited to hear all about that, as well as a lot of your previous endeavors, which were in really interesting organizations. So we'll dive into that in just a little bit. But tell me a little bit about yourself and what do you really care about?
So first of all, thank you for having me. I wake up every morning with a mission to stop the workforce exclusion in the market. So I'm doing it for years. Actually, it's not just didn't start with TaTiO, but for years I was working. I come from HR. I have 15 years of experience in that space, and my co-founder and I worked for 15 years with job seekers across the board, but we have extensive experience with underprivileged populations. So through the years, we've met a lot of job seekers that their resumes do not qualify for a job.
Mm-hmm.
And we had a mission to make sure that they find the right job and that their employees are satisfied with their performance. So when you're doing that without a resume, and sometimes without even small professional experience in terms of their experience in the world, their work history, you need to find new ways to connect people based on new metrics that are not words, right? Because resumes are based on words. So for us, this is what we did. And I will tell you a bit more about TaTiO in a minute. But for me, providing the an equal opportunity to every person to find himself in the workforce is a mission. And I'm doing it for years.
I love that. Okay, very cool. So tell me a little bit about TaTiO, and then we'll link it back to your mission.
Perfect. So TaTiO is a sourcing technology. We connect companies and job seekers based on competencies alone. So our deep technology is smart simulation tests that we create pretty fast and adjust per position in the market. And we source people based on, through those simulations, have them engage in experiences that represent the main core task of a job. We analyze the performance online, and then we do the match based on that. So no resumes, no application form, job experiences. Candidates get more insight about the job, and show the company what they're really worth. What are their competencies? And then we're doing the match. At the end, we're B2B companies, and recruiters who work with us or HR teams that work with us can reach a platform with updated pool of qualified, available, and relevant candidates ranked based on their competencies alone. So it's blind recruiting, focus on competencies, and that's where you get an access to this untapped pool of job seekers, and of course, a more qualified pool, which eventually will resolve in a better retention rate and high engagement process through the hiring process. We work in the US. We just raised our seed round, and our headquarters is here in Tel Aviv.
So let's talk a little bit about competency-based hiring versus traditional methods. So what are sort of, what is, maybe paint me the landscape of, what are the considerations for, what are you giving up and what are you gaining here?
So the traditional way we look at people once we want to make sure they're qualified for the job is based on the stories they tell about themselves and their work history, right? So for years, that's been the process, actually for decades. And I think a lot of things change. It's not just COVID. A lot of things change in the workforce at the last decade. And I think we should all agree that your work history do not necessarily say something about your skills. And I give you my own example.
Yep, please.
If you look at my resumes, 4 years ago, I had 15 years of experience in HR. I held the PhDs, which is privileged credential to show, but no one will look at my resume to be head of product, right? It's not relevant.
Right.
I will not cross any ATS system or HCM. I guess no one will interview. And I'm qualified for a job, right? I have a startup. I'm the one who developed the product. And I think when you look at the future of work, people are moving across industries, changing careers. And it's not just linear. People stop everything to become an Uber drivers in order to have some money and to focus on their art, whatever. So we need to find new taxonomy to assess the candidates' compatibilities and competencies. And you cannot learn that from words or from stories because they do not tell enough. And the paper can have it all. You can say whatever you want in a questionnaire, in a form. It doesn't really mean what you're doing, what you're able to do at the end of your job. So for me, competencies is testing people's skills within the context of the job. It's not just asking, Michael, do you have a great Excel skills? You can say yes, but it depends on what environment. So if you will be a frontline, desk representative with people coming over the time asking questions, your ability to focus on your skills and on sales skills and accelerate that will be lower. So it really depends on you and the combination of the position itself and how you can reflect your skills at the end.
And how do you build then, what is the process of building the competency process where you evaluate the candidates? So how do you navigate through this new type of environment in which you can assess candidates? Because you have to hopefully provide a better tool than the existing, millennia old tool of looking at somebody's experience, asking them questions, and then hopefully you find the right match. You're saying, okay, let's flip that upside down. What is the process of sort of rediscovering this evaluation process?
So there's a lot of evidence-based data that comes from the market, each market in the world. We are focusing in the US, but also in Israel, but in Europe, everywhere. There's this database that represent the main course task or knowledge or experience that requires per job. This database is commonly held by the labor market. Researchers that we've been going through for years. We take this database. We did some analysis with it, but at the end, those are deep job analyses that represent and across the market, what a specific job requires. So we take those competencies or those core tasks, and then we reflect those in simulation. I guess the data is there. I wish that there will be more solutions like us, because the data is there, that will take this database to the next step and not just ask people about their competencies, rather than test them for their competencies before the first interview.
And then what is sort of the user experience on the other side from the hiring perspective? How are you thinking through that experience that you provide them?
So first of all, they need to learn to work with a new tool.
Mm-hmm.
At the end, they see a list of qualified candidates and they walk through that. It's pretty easy. It's a platform that they know, but the data is different. So it's, I keep noticing that HR personas finding tough. This is what they do for years. They only watched resume over those decades. So they need to learn to work with a new tool, with a new taxonomy.
Mm-hmm.
At the minute to see the simulation and what we test, because it's so search forward, it's not popping balloons. It's not comparing square. It's not a complex, deep questionnaire that you don't understand what's behind it. It's straightforward. They're doing a job. If you are a sales rep, for instance, if you want looking for a sales rep, you will see people who receive the list of leads. They qualify those leads and they interact with prospective customers in order to sell them based on a piece they got. So that's the job. And I think for both sides, if we will make it as much as we can closer to the market,
mm-hmm.
to the real requirements of the market and the real environment at the end, that's where our prediction score will be, of course, better, and change will be easier to adapt.
Awesome. So take me through the vision of what you're doing. So, how do you picture the world through your endeavor in the eyes that you want to see it? So what is the vision that you're bringing to the employment, evaluation, HR world?
So my dream is that my kids will not use resume, or they will not have to use resume as an opportunity to apply for a job. I want it to be, something that will laugh, that their parents used to send by fax, that this old thing, outdated thing that is out of the world. And for me, competencies, or this new paradigm of testing people based on competencies, we start from sourcing, but I don't want to stop there. For me, it's a new taxonomy that should go with people from being a candidate to being an employee, to upskill and reskill through the organization. So imagine you did this test or competency, and once you applied, you have your baseline and you know what you need to train on. And then the company,
right,
I don't know, after a year, after 2 years, can offer you new opportunities. You experience those, and you will find your new path. I hope that will be our future of work. And for me, it's not just about making things more efficient. It's adapting to the new world where jobs are not the way they were.
Right. No, that I completely get that, and I think that when you're talking about the future of work and the way that people are evaluated, especially in an environment in which the environment, at least in our ecosystem, right, it is encouraging people to try out different things, to switch between roles. This multidisciplinary idea, a lot of the roles that we have didn't exist before, right? I mean, some of the roles that we have today in companies and organizations, they just didn't even exist 5 years ago. And so it's, I think that, when we're looking at the way that people would evaluate personalities in the 50s is very, very different than how it is probably today. And while the current method is the same, it should change. And it sounds like what you're saying is calling for that change. What is the resistance that you've been meeting from different aspects of bringing this vision to reality?
So first of all, the great support we've got is more from the job seeker side than the company's point of view. And I guess we can understand that job seekers are the one who are frustrated by the old method. And I think people today want to be more involved in their decision making and a better understanding of their career path. It's not about clicking on a button, sending your resumes as much as you can and praying for people to come back to you. We do hear resistance. I'm not sure it's resistance, but you need to adapt to a new change from the HR teams. So they're afraid that those tools will be another path to job seekers. So they will need to do another assessment, and they will not engage in the process. But which is actually wrong, because it's at the end it evolves in higher engagement rate from the job seekers. They feel respectful, and it's fun, and they love the fact that they are, that they have the power to control their lives and to have a better understanding what they're about to do. A salesperson that I met lately told me that our biggest war, we're fighting against status quo. And when you're fighting against status quo, it's tough. But we are up for the challenge, and I believe that's where we should be. And we have great companies that are really excited to working with us. Those are early adopters. And I believe those will be the ones that eventually bring more people and help the market adjust to the new paradigm.
Beautiful. So I'm tying this back now right to the beginning, and with my favorite question for this whole series, which is why do you do what you do? Why do you spend these years now at TaTiO? And then share whatever you'd like, but it's a lot of years, and it's a big commitment, and it's a big push, it's a big vision. Why do you do it?
First of all, I enjoy it a lot, but I chose that. For me, it's really a mission. It's been a mission for years. I now I engaged with technology to solve that, but I did it for years manually, or by meeting personas and not using tech. I feel like justice have to be made. I feel like we cannot expect things to be changed while doing the same things over and over again. And I think we should. It's about time. Post-COVID, this recession in the market, and the fact that people want different things, I think we should move forward. And if not, we will have deep issues in the workforce that we will not be able to solve in the future. There's a hidden talent pool that should be engaged. And I think this is the only way to go.
I completely agree. I love it. And I wish you best of luck as you scale this, as you improve the product, as you bring this to the market and even more. And as you make those transitions that you mentioned before, at the end, a lot of people talk about the future of work, but I think that it's really, it's what's really interesting is that it's not just about the future of work in the actual office, but it's the future of how we actually get to the work, right? And I think that's
exactly
the part we're dealing with. So thank you very, very much, Maya. I really appreciate your time and your energy. I know how busy you are, so I'm going to let you go, but thank you very much.
Thank you so much. It was great talking to you.
Thank you.